finally found a couple minutes to sit down and talk about the tripod that I've been using this Benro G2 ball head with. The name of it, if I can remember right, is the Benro TMA38CL. And I've really enjoyed the combination. It's one that I spent a lot of time researching, so I'll just cover the points that were important to me when deciding on this tripod and head combination, and hopefully that will help you in your decision if you're thinking of this tripod specifically, or just tripods in general, things to consider. So for me, I was looking for something that could go quite tall so that I wouldn't have to be constantly leaning over to get the shot that I wanted. But I also wanted something that could go quite low to the ground quickly. I didn't want to have to always reverse the center column or have to switch out to another tripod, which I'd sometimes done in the past. So this tripod here gets quite long in height. I can't extend it all the way. I'm indoors right now. It's really windy outside, and I didn't want to have you suffer through all the wind noise on the microphone. You probably can't see the whole thing, but it goes extremely tall. I'm 5'10", and it's even at its height, full height, without the tall, long center column, higher than I need it. So it's very tall at its tallest, and then at its shortest, it goes quite low when you extend these legs all the way. And this will probably go a little bit out of frame, but you'll hopefully be able to see. Just to get my feet up from underneath, just a couple inches off the ground. So that allows for some really cool low angle shots for landscape photography, or if you're doing some macro photography, it allows you to get really low, close to the bugs on the ground or flowers or whatever you may be photographing. So that was the first thing. The second is I wanted a tripod that was constructed extremely simply. Less things that could go wrong. I've had tripods in the past that had a lot of components that things wore out over time or even very quickly. This tripod, the levers here that allow you to extend the legs are extremely simple. They can be tightened with a screw that's easy to get to, so if they do loosen over time, that's easy to adjust. The legs, these screws here, again, easily accessible, easy to tighten. That way you don't ever have the legs flopping down as you're trying to extend them or move the tripod around. The other thing that I like about this tripod is it's carbon fiber. This is my first carbon fiber tripod. The carbon fiber wasn't a must to me because I can carry a couple more pounds as I'm traveling and doing my hiking. However, when you get a little bit bigger tripod like this, it does make it nice to have a little bit less weight. So even though it wasn't completely essential, I have enjoyed having the carbon fiber and having it lighter weight than it would have been if it was aluminum. Another thing about this tripod is even when fully extended, this last leg is quite thick. In fact, it's even thicker than some of my other tripods' main leg had been. And so I really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed that it came with the rubber feet, but then also spiked feet, so depending on the terrain I can switch those out. And then the fact that it included the short column without having to pay additional in addition to the longer column, which I have here, was a great thing for me because I use the short column probably 95% of the time that I'm using this tripod. If you are a taller user, you can use this center column to extend it even higher, and then it will fit your needs. The other thing that I really liked is that even though it's fairly tall overall compared to some of my travel size tripods, it fits inside of the carry case that it comes with the head, and that's even if you got a little bit taller of a head. So you don't have to remove that in order to have it fit in the case, which I've seen on some tripod models. Another cool feature that they've added is this little loop right here. And its main function is when you're using the strap, you can use it on the bag or you can attach it here and then wrap this end around the legs and tighten it down. And then you have a carrying strap for your tripod, or you can have it on the bag, of course, and sling that over your shoulder. So a lot of thought went into this design as they were constructing this tripod. For me, it was a perfect combination of all those features that fit well for my needs. As I've used it, there's only one thing that has been a minor inconvenience at times. It's very picky. As you are switching out the center column, and I'll just loosen this slightly. If this lever here, this knob, this twisty thing here is not tightened completely, there's a little bit of play back and forth. And that's because this little notch here that they use to align it goes right into a little plastic insert, which I'll pull out and show you. And this plastic insert is the only piece of plastic in this tripod, besides the locking mechanisms on the leg. But this is the weak point in my opinion. As you tighten it, it condenses down, but it's this little tab right here that fits inside of a metal liner, and as it's in there, it has a little bit of play. And so when switching out the center column, it's something I don't do very often, but when I do, I just have to make sure that this is tightened down extremely tight. I might contact Benro to see if that's something that's common. If it is, it's not a deal breaker for me because all you have to do is tighten it down. So here we go, I'll just tighten that nice and tight. So now it's completely stable, no movement at all. But if you find yourself switching out the column really often, that's something you may want to consider and test out on the tripods that you're considering. Other than that, there's no complaints though. I've really enjoyed using it. It's been great to be able to set up my shot, frame it exactly how I want to, and then have no worry of if it's going to be stable even in wind or on uneven surfaces. It stayed completely stable, and then you can always switch out for the spiked feet and dig it into the ground a little bit if you need to. In future videos I might compare it to some of my other tripods that I've used. A lot of my experience with tripods has been travel sized, smaller ones like the Mi Photo Road Trip. That was because I used that when I was in the Himalayas and when I would go hiking just in my local mountains here, or just other trips. It was always really small and easy to throw in the car and strapped to the backpack. But as I've used this, it hasn't inconvenienced me at all. It still goes down fairly small for how versatile it is, and it's fairly lightweight for how stable it is. So this is my tripod of choice, and I hope it lasts me for years to come. If there's any issues I foresee, or that any issues that I run into, or if something is starting to break and I foresee it being a problem, I'll mention that and update you. But as of right now, I can highly recommend this tripod compared to the 5 others that I've owned, and I'll do a comparison video when I'm able to go outside and actually show you the full heights and the lowness, and then maybe some of the other factors. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll answer them or do a follow-up video. Thanks for watching.